Ladies and gentlemen, it's time for us to have a bit of a discussion, a little bit of catch-up on the CN Rover VA situation. Because, as we all know, she got fired for being a bit of a brand risk. She got fired for being associated with doxing another individual. And I've said as much in the prior videos that I've made regarding the matter, but now there's a bit of a development. Now there's a bit of an update. The person who claimed that CN Rover VA is a doxer has apologized and admitted their mistake. So, a lot of people saw this headline, a lot of people saw this translated post, which, by the way, only comes from one source, and there have been some additional translations done on this and additional context provided on the matter. But yeah, this post has gone ahead, it's made its ways around a bunch of different communities, and what you'll notice from this post is that it's locked everywhere, even on the r/Gotcha Gaming subreddit. And if you know how these subreddits work, both r/Wuthering Waves and r/Gotcha Gaming are subreddits that are essentially astroturfed heavily. They're astroturfed to the point where you post anything positive about Kuro games, it's going to go ahead and just get downvoted like crazy. You post anything negative about Wuthering Waves or Kuro games, it shoots up to the top. And this all happened, by the way, in 5 hours. But even the mods of an astroturfed subreddit recognize that this situation is a little bit stinky. And so I've gone ahead, right? And I've also taken a look at my recent comments section on a video. Is Rover's VA going to jail? And then you can read some of the posts that are coming up over here. Some rat's gonna stay silent and pretend nothing happened now. A typical frame up by Kuro. Me, when in a competitive randomly accusing people without proof. You can tell by the lack of ability to form coherent sentences. These are in fact Hoyo shills. So that's, if you just needed further evidence, is right there. Alt title, falsely accused CNVA, dragged to the mud by Wuwa extremist. So clearly a lot of Satan deserves to go to jail. A lot of very aggressive comments. It's time for your apology. So let's explain this first. There's a reason why I won't be apologizing and instead actually farming this further. Because I basically have proof over here that every single person in this comment section recently within the past 4 hours is actively brigading and has not even seen a single second of this video. Because if I just go ahead and I click into this video, what you're going to find, ladies and gentlemen, is that this is a reaction video to a video that the CNVA made themselves. Rover's CNVA made this video to describe and provide context surrounding the situation. And all I do is react to it the entire time. And so, we get the facts of the situation, the details of the situation from the VA themselves, and just simply comment on the matter. And so the hilarious thing is that I even, at the end of the video, you can see this thing is timestamped, I even provide a summary of the entire situation. And let me just play back this part for you. To realize how absurd this situation is, are you guys beginning, like, after you're seeing the summary of this, should this person have a job still? No. So we went through and we provided a bunch of context for why the Wuwa community is upset with her. She basically bait and switched the game, bait and switched the players of the game around the launch of it, said that they were cryptically said they were going to play Wuwa a bunch of times while it was releasing, and then proceeded to play shit like Minecraft and some random, like, fantasy RPG game that's like a CN exclusive instead. And so the community got mad at her. They said she was, like, rage baiting a bunch, and then, you know, made some posts, made some videos calling out her behavior. Then she did this. This is absurd conduct. She then comments on a random Wuwa player's cat photo. Can you stop harassing me? 600k plus XJJ Hoyo shills. Subscribe to her. Subscribe to Rover's VA. Dox the person she commented on. So even in my video covering the entire situation, all I say regarding female Rover and her involvement with doxing people is that she called somebody out, she painted a target on somebody, and then her followers, her massive community of 600k plus people, I think it's at 500k now, deserved, her massive community doxed that person. And so the take literally is, she didn't literally do the doxing, but she's an accessory to the doxing. If her actions were never made, the person would never have been doxed. She created the entire situation. And that alone, even if she didn't do the doxing herself, is clearly enough for her to get fired. And this is the thing, right? I'm making all these conclusions after watching the video that the VA made. But there might be some people who are still saying, oh, Saint, you misinterpreted it. Well, now let's just go ahead and let's take a look at the words from the VA themselves. This is the VA, by the way. This is their social media on Bilibili. You can double check this if you want. And this is a translation of posts that she's made before publicly. The thing is, because I made a comment to her, it was my fault. Now she is being cyberbullied, and I have to take some responsibility. I also hope to do my best to minimize the impact of this incident. So, ladies and gentlemen, the VA has said, literally, the exact same thing that I said in this video. And this is what you call, ladies and gentlemen, it's called being an accessory to a crime. Unintentionally being an accessory to a crime. This is like, ladies and gentlemen, you finding out, a random person taps on the back of your car. You're in front of a bank. Somebody you don't know taps on the back of your car and then says, hey, I need you to get me out of here right now. I'll give you $2 million if you get me out of here right now. You don't ask any questions and you say, yeah, let's do it. That person actually just robbed a bank. And you went ahead and you are the getaway vehicle. And even though you didn't know that the person was robbing the bank, you still are the person that helped them get away after robbing the bank. And so even if you didn't know about it, you're the accessory to the crime. And you will be liable for some things, right? Obviously, probably a lesser sentence, stuff like that. But without you, the crime wouldn't have occurred. And that's the thing. That's called negligence. And this is a circumstance, ladies and gentlemen, where the VA themselves have went ahead and have admitted to their own negligence and that they are the reason why doxing even occurred in the first place. Yes, that is a fact. That is something that they have said. They have admitted the massive role that they played in their own firing. So, that's what we've clarified. Now let's go ahead and let's read, well, the post that's getting people going so crazy. All right, here is the translated post. And one thing that I want to say up front is that this post is actually correctly translated. However, it is very clear from the information that you're seeing on here, this was legally compelled and actually contradicts the actual facts of the situation that the CNVA Gui Nong has said herself regarding this entire thing. So the first thing that I gotta tell you guys off the rip is that it is correctly translated, but lawyers are the reason why this statement was made. And you'll begin to see why really quickly. So the first point over here is that CN Rover's VA has not incited her fans to engage in cyberbullying or harassment against me. That is the first take from the person that got doxed. You'll realize that this was compelled by a lawyer very quickly when you see over here that the VA themselves, Gui Nong, has admitted to being the reason why the person was doxed publicly. Gui Nong admitted online in multiple apologies, actually. There's a second one over here. This incident was all caused by personal inappropriate remarks. The VA has said themselves on 2 separate occasions that they're the reason why the cyberbullying and doxing happened. But now the person that got doxed is saying that Gui Nong is not the reason why. This is what occurred, ladies and gentlemen. This VA made these apologies prior to consulting a lawyer. They realized they incriminated themselves by saying the truth, and their lawyer told them to shut the fuck up and start lying. Because of course, right, their intent can't be proven. Their intent can't actually be proven over here. And the situation has now become, I am a VA with quite a bit of cash, a big following, and a legal team. This is a random person on Bilibili. Who do you think is more likely in a battle of legality and courts? Who's more likely to win in that circumstance? The person who has a professional career or a random nobody, and this is not an insult, or a random nobody in CN that just happens to like casually consume gacha game content? I think it's kind of clear. The statement right here, the very first one, is incredibly disgusting for a lot of reasons. Based off the statements that the VA themselves have made publicly online, and then also in their own video, this person over here, the person that got doxed, is now being legally compelled to lie so that they don't get into a drawn-out legal battle and then bankrupted after they got doxed. So essentially, the solution for this person is lie to protect Gui Nong. This person got doxed. They either now have to lie to protect Gui Nong or get bankrupted by Gui Nong's lawyers if they won't actively lie to defend her. That's terrible. This is cyberbullying to the fucking extreme. If you thought this entire situation was already bad, it just got worse, ladies and gentlemen. Now we got the second statement over here. The comments previously made by the account Hui Taoji which claimed that CN Rover VA incited fans to cyberbully and dox, or to dox and cyberbully ordinary individuals, were not based on verified evidence. They were purely subjective statements, and I sincerely apologize for the trouble this caused Guinong. This is the thing. This person said that Guinong themselves doxed them. This person said that Guinong themselves intentionally went ahead and intentionally incited their fans to go attack them. You can't prove intent. I could be running a marathon and there's somebody next to me and I intentionally trip them, but I don't say that I'm going to trip them. It just, you know, I stick my foot out, they eat shit, break their arm or something. Because I didn't announce that my intent was to maliciously attack them during the marathon, you can't go ahead and say, unless you're a fucking mind reader, that I intentionally did it. I can just say it was an accident. And as you all know, if you've been keeping up with like any legal case or any legal situation, proving intent is really hard to do. The only thing this VA did, right, was just go ahead, go on a random Billy person's account, and then say, can you stop harassing me? Can you stop bothering me so much? And then there's 600K fans went ahead and doxed the person. And the VA themselves even admitted in their own video, they felt it was appropriate and then went to delete it. That is what you call, ladies and gentlemen, admitting wrongdoing. Where she even said herself, yeah, that probably wasn't the best thing to say. That could probably lead to something bad. And so I thought it would be a good decision to delete it myself. Those are the VA's own words, by the way. We're watching their own video over here. Now, let's go ahead. Now let's get to the last part down here. For those who have not confirmed with me and have not obtained my authorization, yet use my statements for commercial purposes or publish them in videos, whether by media outlets or individuals, I reserve the right to pursue legal responsibility. And once again, as we just said before, ladies and gentlemen, this statement at the very forefront directly contradicts what the VA themselves said regarding the matter. And so you can naturally assume this statement was also probably compelled by Guinong's, let's just say stellar judicial team, because they're probably just telling them, hey, we want people to stop talking about this. We want people to stop covering the issue, threaten to sue anybody else. We need you to threaten to sue anybody else that's covering this issue because your statements are, you know, your statements can't be proven. But you want to know what can be proven? This statement over here. The actions of Guinong led to somebody getting doxxed. She has apologized and taken accountability for how her actions led to somebody getting doxxed. And that alone is enough for somebody, let's just be honest, to be unhired by a company because they're going out and doxing the players of the game. Oh, sorry, they're not going out and doxing. They're unintentionally going out and leading to people getting doxxed. Let's just use the proper wording over here because that's semantics. Semantics is the only thing that's on Guinong's side right now. And unfortunately, semantics are enough for a group of rabid Hoyo shills to start brigading comment sections. Now, we've got this post over here that I want to take a look at. And this is a situation where somebody's gone ahead and provided all the context surrounding these statements. And this was actually where I came to the conclusion, after reading this, that it was clear how legally compelled all of these statements actually are. So let's get right on into it. First of all, the victim has made what seems to be an obligated apology statement post as requested by the police. The main purpose is to clarify that Guinong didn't directly guide the cyberbullying to them. But the cyberbullying occurred because of Guinong's own actions. Because realistically, there's no way anyone can prove that. And this is where intent comes in. If somebody didn't announce what their objective was and then they caused something bad to happen, you can't say that they intentionally were trying to hurt somebody. And that's what's going on over here. The poster said that Guinong was intentionally going out and trying to dox people, right? They did that, but you can't prove that they were that was their intent when they were going ahead and doing this. But let's be honest here. If a person with 600K subscribers, which Guinong did, now it's 500K. If a person with that many subs goes ahead and paints a target digitally on somebody's back like this and says, you're harassing me, you're causing me so much trouble, you're an awful person, all of this stuff, and they know that their community is full of rabid individuals who go out and dox people, let's be honest, guys. This would be like Mr. Beast calling you a scammer in a comment section. What do you think is going to happen? You're going to get a bunch of angry 10-year-olds eating Feastables chocolate bars, calling you a scammer as well. or probably trying to dox you and like ruin your career, ruin your life, all that stuff, right? And that's the thing. If Mr. Beast went ahead and did that, publicly called somebody out in like a comment section, sick their community on them, he would get in a lot of shit. He probably has some sponsorships dropped. He probably has some situations where he's lost some opportunities. And that's the exact same thing that happened to Guinong, female Rovers VA. And the situation is quite clear, ladies and gentlemen. She did something bad. Nobody can prove the intent of what she did, but the end result of her actions was somebody getting doxxed. And if she had never done this in the first place, and that's why she apologized for it, then nobody would have been doxxed in the first place. But the thing is, she did do this. Somebody did get doxxed. And this is a lot of negative PR that a company probably doesn't want to deal with. Oh man, do we want to have a loose cannon VA that's going to crash out on random players, and then their community, knowing how they act, is going to go ahead and start doxing random players? Because this VA will probably do this again? Sure, you might not be able to prove her intent as she's schizo posting on other people's pages. But she does schizo post on other people's pages, and the end result is people getting doxxed. And I'm not gonna lie, that doesn't really seem like the type of professional environment that I feel like a company that thrives on the spending of its players and the community of its players, I don't think that that's something that a company really wants to go for. Now let's go ahead, let's keep breaking this all down. The doxxed person, as a normal person, doesn't have the resources to go to court against a famous VA with 600k fans. It's understandable they cannot go with the case and surrender. But the CN community are still well aware that all the trouble that the victim faced started with Guinong personally visiting their Bilibili page and leaving a sarcastic comment on their post. After that, the toxic Hoyo XJJ fans chose the doxed person as a target for cyberbullying and doxing. 100%. That's literally what occurred. Guinong claims she didn't directly lead the cyberbullying, which is true because all she did was leave a comment. But she's far from innocent, as she herself is well aware that her fan base of 600k Hoyo fans are toxic, and she is entertaining the drama, and that might lead to some severe consequences. And this is the exact post that we looked at, right? And don't worry, these are translated properly. And there's another apology as well. Once again, I solemnly apologize to all players. The incident was all caused by my personal inappropriate remarks and my failure to promptly identify and delete comments with black names, which resulted in unnecessary rhythm and a very bad impact on the game and all players. I promise that I will give you a clear and satisfactory explanation in the future. I am very sorry for bringing you a bad mood. I hope that everyone affected can understand, and I'd like to express my most sincere apologies to everyone again. And then after that, ladies and gentlemen, after she made this apology, she posted this video where she provided all the context and just further incriminated herself and just further exposed literally how she ruined somebody's life. Sorry. Let me re-clarify that, just for the Hoyo's sake. How she unintentionally ruined somebody's life. And let me put unintentionally in quotation marks over there. This is how she unintentionally, without intent, ruined somebody's life. But she did do it. This is how she unintentionally got somebody's family threatened. This is how she unintentionally made someone private all of their social media. So that they don't get, so that CN Hoyo shills, XJJ members, they don't get real offline with them. So I'll just repeat what I said in this previous clip over here. Does it make sense why this VA got fired? Does it make sense why people are unhiring this VA? Does it make sense why gacha companies don't want this VA associated with their brand? Because she did all of those things. She's admitted to it herself. You can't prove the intent of what she did, but she still did them. And that's the thing. You don't have to accept somebody back just because you can't prove their intent. Somebody slaps you in the face, and they're just like, I'm sorry, bro. I was just stretching. I stretch like this. I stretch like this. I was just stretching, and I happened to give you a concussion. You can't prove that they were intentionally trying to give you brain damage, but they did. But they did. You can't prove that's what they were trying to do, but they did it. So, does that mean you can't be upset with them? No, you're well within your rights to be as pissed off with that person as you fucking want to be. But who knows? Maybe you're too brain damaged to feel emotions anymore. So that'll be the solution there. But you can clearly see, I don't even know why I have to explain this so much. I probably don't. But Real world examples are a way to make this situation a lot more understandable. But I realize how useless real world examples are because the people making these comments don't fucking go outside. So maybe we'll just stop doing those in these videos because, like, what's the point? I'm directly addressing astroturfers using analogies from the real world, but none of them are gonna fucking stick. Anyways, let's go back. I'll stop wasting my time. I'll stop wasting my time with that sort of stuff. After female Rover's VA made all these public apologies, she did a 180, saying she had nothing to do with it to save herself. So after she consulted a lawyer, she went ahead and completely detached herself from all of her apologies, did a complete 180 after reaching out to a legal team. Interesting. In the end, this all started with her trying to reignite the drama from a year ago for her own entertainment, which caused two fandoms to fight again. That's the drama that I was talking about before, where during Woowa's launch week, she was playing every game under the sun except for Woowa, and then promising Woowa players that she would eventually play Woowa, and then she never ended up playing Woowa. That was the drama from a year ago that she decided to resurrect like a fucking necromancer for fun. And now she got fired for that. I'm not gonna lie, it's a little poetic. This alone, and her giving leeway for her Hoyo-centric fan base to ridicule Woowa fans. This alone is enough reason for players to call for the removal of her role. So is Kuro in the wrong for firing her? Hell nah. When a VA, a representation of Kuro themselves, going online and trying to stir drama, they have 100% right to fire her. And that's the take. Most people are still in support. Obviously, there are some individuals who have been swayed heavily by the amount of misinformation that's spreading regarding this matter, because this directly contradicts what the VA has said herself. And now they're going ahead. They're getting a little bit stir crazy. But I'm glad we were able to provide additional context. Or really, we didn't provide any additional context at all. We just simply reiterated the context that the VA herself has made. And, well, it's causing this entire narrative of she's innocent to completely fucking crumble. And if you're not gonna watch this video, but still try to astroturf, I just recommend you watch this. Just watch my summary of the situation, which is done after reacting to her entire apology video, and all it does is simply list out, in simple English, exactly what happened. And I even beg viewers, I even beg people, if I got anything wrong, make sure to correct me. But guess what? When I'm saying exactly what the VA herself has said, and this is a reaction to a video that the VA herself made, if there's misinformation here, it's coming from Guinong herself. And that's the most hilarious part about all of these comments. If there's any actual misinfo in here, it's because of the source, not the person reacting to it. So these guys don't even know at a baseline what they're even trying to say in the first place. So yeah, that'll be that for that one, ladies and gentlemen. Let me know what you all thought. Peace.